jump right back to it. So Valiant, did you understand? Did you know? Because obviously you knew about the lawsuit. You've already dropped a video on it, right? But did you also know about the board meeting that was going on the 26th? Were you aware of that?
Yeah. I mean, because they dropped the lawsuit. They waited for the board to meet, have the vote to veto what the old Reedy Creek board had done to turn the property over to Disney, and then 10 minutes later they filed the lawsuit. I mean, they were waiting for it. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes. In fact, I'm talking about this one. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but now it's so funny how this works. So Florida has these things called sunshine laws. We have these things called they're transparency laws, and they're laws that are meant so that the public gets to see every public meeting. Isn't that a nice thing, right? Isn't that great?
You mean like mailing perhaps notices to landowners? Is that part of that?
They do that when there's certain types of public hearings, and let me be very clear. When there's certain types of public hearings, they have to mail a notice to everybody, but when it's a regular meeting, they don't, right? So if it's a regular meeting, they don't have to mail it. But for certain types of things, very specific things that may involve large updates to that land and how it's used. Yeah,
I feel like we're on the same page here.
Yeah.
You mean even double wides on cul-de-sacs, right?
Yes, even double wides on cul-de-sacs have to get those notices. So right here, you've got their meeting. They posted this online. And I want to say one thing else too. And this is a huge shout out to this because almost nobody does this. And this is far more transparent than probably anybody. They actually now are with us. So the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District, they're now YouTubers. Let's show you this right now. They have a YouTube channel, right, which almost nobody is using to drop their meetings. You can see their entire meetings here from 1 day ago and 8 days ago online. Now, I will say, look, guys, this is my area of specialty. I literally would be the attorney at these meetings. In fact, there's still video online of me at many of these public meetings, right? They're boring as shit. And I'm going to give you the TLDR version because I was going to play the video. It's kind of slow. It's kind of not exciting. So I'm going to summarize it more for you. But if you want the whole thing, these specific meetings are good to watch because they deal with the Disney drama. So both the stream from 8 days ago, 1 day ago for the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District, you know, they got comments off because of the government. And by the way government social media works is you have to maintain all things as public records. So even comments on your YouTube videos, you are required to maintain as public records.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did Reedy Creek have a YouTube page with all their meetings?
Hell no, they did not. Hell no. Are you kidding me? You know how deeply buried their information was?
I was just asking because they're so transparent.
Yeah. So let me just tell you this. This is how Reedy Creek meetings would go down, right? They have this very beautiful glass building. I don't know if you ever have you guys seen it in Disney when you've driven through ever? Have you ever seen the glass?
You're talking about Disney Springs, correct?
Yeah, it's by Disney Springs. Exactly right, Pro.
I've seen pictures of the building. I've never driven past. Yeah.
Okay, so let me see if I can pull it up. But in this very beautiful building, right, there's people working inside of this building. And inside of this building, here's this
While you're looking for it, Andrew, it's also quite the building because I don't know of anywhere else where two cities and a special district all hold their same meetings back to back. It's incredible.
Well, a lot of times special districts are so small that they actually have to use other people's facilities, right? So they'll use the county facilities or the library or whatever else, the public library to meet because they're very small. They typically are, kind of tiny. But oftentimes if they've got, let's say, a clubhouse or something, they'll use that. I represented a lot of the special. Actually, sorry, let me be clear. I represented almost all of the special districts around Walt Disney World. So when we're talking about Celebration, Reunion, all the ones down there, south of that Mystic Dunes, all those special districts, my clients, my former clients.
But did all those special districts have the same residents and the same members on every board, like RCID and Bay Lake and Lake Buena Vista?
Same secretary even.
That's a no. So when you walk in here, right? You're going to see a bunch of staff. If you want to go to the meeting, you've got to actually go up and back. It's not like you just walk in and you're in the room. You would have to ask somebody, hey, where's the meeting? And they could just look at you and be like, what meeting? You know what I mean? Like at that point, they probably wouldn't even know. The staff might not even know there's a meeting going on.
That's when you say, "Oh, I'm from the trailer just north of here, actually."
It's room 2F in the DeSantis derangement syndrome conference room.
Does your audience, are they fully aware of what we're talking about when we make the mobile home and the trailer jokes? Do they know what we're referring to with Disney World?
Let's clarify that real quick, because when they talk about these trailer parks, right, and these mobile homes, what they're talking about is a very specific area. In fact, do you want to explain that, WW Pro? I'll let you take that.
Sure. So there are two cities, and I put those cities in quotation marks. I call them pseudo cities. Those cities are Lake Buena Vista and Bay Lake. So two lake-named cities. And when Disney World was originally set up, Walt Disney himself, he had a vision in which he wanted to have cities. It was not just a theme park resort. If you think about the theme park now called Epcot, that was the experimental prototype city of tomorrow. That was originally supposed to be a real city, not a giant golf ball. But at some point after his death, the company determined that running cities was hard, and they didn't want to do it. But they still wanted government power, because government power is good. And so to maintain a Vatican City in Central Florida, they decided that they would set up two mobile home parks hidden away from everybody to see. And then they would determine who would live inside of those mobile homes. Disney would continue to be the sole landowner. And then by the virtue of the fact they selected who would go in the mobile homes, they would then have full control over these cities without actually having cities. And then those cities would control the special district known as Reedy Creek Improvement District. Thus, Disney was granted governmental powers that are unlike anything else in the country, without even having to have a single permanent structure on site for citizens to live within.
So let's get this straight. Disney was for decades running a government solely under its control, only Disney voting everybody in, and now they're crying about Ron DeSantis appointing a board?
Andrew, I've just realized why all of those Disney employees were so terrified of being moved to Florida.
Why?
They thought they were going to have to bunk up in the double wides. That's what was happening.
Wow. That's very, very true. And let me give one thing here that's very true. I want to say thank you to all the new members. I know a lot of you guys are subscribing, being part of the RPG Replay Gang or Base Legal Mindset. So thank you. Shout out to Scott Westbrook. Get everybody here. Ike Brovlovsky, Scott Westbrook, Mr. Buttcracker Media, and Jatari Hime. Appreciate all you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And as for the super chats, what I want to do is I want to get all those at certain points. So after we transition, after we finish talking about the district, before we talk about the lawsuit, I'll get all those super chats. So I am coming to them. I'm collecting them. They will be read. Do not worry. I'm not Valiant Renegade. I don't take forever to get to my super chats. I've got a system.
Wait a minute. This is the show's producers right up there.
Bro, getting to
he's not working.
It's like herding cats on that channel. Legal.
Cajun cats.
I understand. So let's jump right into this. So here's the agenda. And this, guys, make no mistake, this is what nobody is talking about. I've not seen anybody go into this. This is the real reason why they're butthurt. And nobody is talking about it because, frankly, they don't understand special districts. They don't understand the business of special districts and how the business gets done. A lot of this business is done in quiet. Frankly, these meetings are usually very poorly attended. Not many people usually go to these, yet very important things can happen for your local government, for your area. If there's a special district that's covering where you live, you should attend some of those meetings sometimes because often there's very important things going down, particularly the budget. If there's ever a budget that's passed or anything else, attend those. And in Florida, this is what the agenda looks like. I would look at dozens of these agendas per week and attend 6-7 meetings a week. When I was down there in Florida. So they do a call to order. They do a pledge of allegiance, very standard, right? For most government meetings that are not gone full California. And then you go into public comment, which is where the public can stand up and say whatever they want, right? Usually there's a time limit, a reasonable time limit, but they let everybody say whatever they want. And then it goes into the action items. So here they're talking about the proposed budget, the permitting report, management report, general counsel reports. These are very standard reports. By the way, when I was there, I would have reports as where I would give my attorney's report. So I was never representing these guys, but once again, all these special district agendas look very the same. This is very much what I would be doing when I was a special district council. And then look here, 8.1. Let's zoom in here and see this new business. Valiant, can you read this for me? Can you read 8.1 for me?
Absolutely. Approval of legislative findings regarding and declare the development agreement and declaration of restrictive covenants entered into by the Reedy Creek Improvement District and Walt Disney Parks and Resorts, U.S. void. Ab initio and direction to litigation counsel regarding same. And I believe, Andrew, if I'm not mistaken, they're specifically referring to when they say Walt Disney Parks and Resorts U.S., which is a subsidiary of the Walt Disney Company. That entity, I believe, is actually based in Florida.
Yes, that is correct. That is a Florida-based entity. That is the Florida-based entity that tends to own the majority of the property at the parks, is that specific entity. Thank you. That's a very good point. Now, WW Pro, let me ask you, do you know what ab initio means? It is not something from Harry Potter.
I'm assuming based on the initio there that it is in reference to from the point in which it was started. In other words, from point zero, that this was always void. It never had any basis in legality, and perhaps the best parallel that would exist that people would know about is that there is the ability in a particular type of marriage to not simply divorce that marriage, but to nullify it through annulment. And ab initio perhaps is akin to annulment in this way.
Yes, it is absolutely saying that. Exactly right. Ab initio means from the start. By the way, I think it's kind of douchey that lawyers use legal language way too much, but this is a technical term of art, so that's why they use that. I'm a big fan of using plain English so people understand, so everybody understands, not legalese. But in terms of contracts, it's exactly what Pro said. So from the start, these were never void, therefore not enforceable. These are not valid contracts. So we are voiding them. They're voided contracts from the start because of many flaws in them.
So in other words, Andrew, let's clarify that.
But Andrew, I heard from pixie dusters and all kinds of other pro Disney people that what was good, that something like this could never happen. That's what I heard, Andrew.
Wow, really? They said it would never ever happen, that it was impossible?
Disney, like, no way,
Disney
dude.
is gonna sock it to DeSantis in Florida. Pow pow. Pow 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 pow, Andrew.
Wait, you mean there might, you guys are surprised that there's a problem when the entity with which you entered a contract is like, no, we're not gonna follow the terms of this ridiculous contract because it's ridiculous and it's not clearly not enforceable.
So let's clarify on 2 points here that I'm interested in. One is, it seems to me, and you correct me if I'm wrong, that this then indicates that not only are the agreements that were made void, but it is as if they never existed.
Correct. It is as if they never existed in the first place. They are entirely gone, wiped out. This is both the development agreement and the declaration of restrictive covenants, because those were considered as a single action item. Now they are different, right? They're completely different. So we'll talk about how they function differently. And that's a very big distinction that is completely 100% lost on them. But they're void from the start. It's as if they didn't happen. It's as if they don't exist. And this is a power that belongs to the district. It belongs to the state. They can do this. This is entirely within their power because they're the fucking government. That's what they do, right? That's within their authority to do that. They're given the ability to review these contracts. They're given the ability to go in there and void them if they find out that they do not fulfill the purpose and they don't meet the required criteria.
So to go back to the idea of the annulment parallel, that would be like if someone tried to marry someone who is already married. It simply can't happen. So there's no recognition that it ever occurred because it was never valid from any point in time of its existence. Now, Andrew, my big question for you that I'm very interested in knowing